I hate to be that guy, man, but I sound like big old bad Sills here, man. Zander calls me the villain of. I mean, hey, without further ado, let me get. Hey, get this. I'm now doing this with this kid. I'm actually writing questions down for him now because you know why? This guy gives me a ton of shit now, and so I'm even writing questions down for him. By the way, he's the co-host of Birds 365. Those guys are doing a great job. Hey, I heard John McMullen go, Zander, Zander's even questioning Kellen now. It's fucking great. I mean, I think he's been Sileo-wise. All that. And please, all super chats will be read, I promise. Without further ado, my friend, the co-host of Birds 365 and one of the rising stars of Philly media, Big C, Zander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills?
Dude, I got to tell you, man, let's start talking like champions around here more.
Sills, I push back with you on a lot of stuff. I will not push back on that. You want to be champions, you got to act like champions. I used to fight with people in high school about this because they used to tell me how great we were in the city of brotherly love. And I said, why don't we win nothing? And remember, this is back in 2012, 13, 14, 15. I don't know what. Did Philly do anything in that time period from 12 to 16? I think the only thing we hung our hat on that year was a shot by the Villanova player, Chris Jenkins, at the buzzer. I think that was the only thing we won in the city of brotherly love in that time. So
that's right. Nova was great. The Nova's been great. That's right.
They were good.
Under Rolly and under Jay. Yeah, okay. I forgot about Nova. You're right.
Yeah,
Nova
come on.
Too.
I mean, I like Nova and all, and it's cool when they win, but that's not Philly sports winning.
Dude, I'm like, maybe I wasn't clear when I came here that I'm looking for you guys to be and put a dynasty. Hey, Zander, you don't have a dynasty right now because you win a lot of games. You're a good football team and a good organization. That don't make, dude, don't you want to be like the Chiefs and the Patriots and the Cowboys back in the 70s or in the early 90s? Don't you want to be that shit? That's what I strive to be. Don't you want to be Bama winning all those titles? Yeah. How did it feel to be an Alabama fan and an Alabama guy and an alum like that, being part of that shit, Zander? Didn't that make you feel great? Like you walked around with your chest out as a champion all the time.
Yeah, it made me get pissed at the city more. It's a good thing we won the Super Bowl when I was a sophomore, I think, at Alabama. We won the Super Bowl in Philly. Yeah, but I got to Alabama. I'm like, this is what winning feels like. This is nice. This is real nice. So,
and when you lost, it was like an iconic moment when they lost.
Right. Look, being a champion is a mentality. It's a mindset. It's an approach. It's a lot deeper than just results on the field. It's everything before that. So, I understand. I understand you where you come from when you speak like that, and I have no issue with it. And I think everybody in the chat and everybody who listens to us well after the chat that thinks like you appreciates it as well. That's why you have such a big growing audience right now.
And by the way, I saw somebody in here going, I really think Sills wants Hurts to win a Super Bowl. Of course I do, because that makes my show great. It makes it bigger. Who in the world wants to cover Tyrod Taylor or the Pizza guy?
One day, Sileo, and maybe I shouldn't say this. One day, Sills, the majority of the people will wake up and learn that if the Eagles absolutely shit the bed, you got a massive show. Hey. And if the Eagles dominate and win big and do it and win the Super Bowl, you got a big show.
It's called having an opinion.
It is, but you're on both sides of the aisle, man. You're winning.
Well, that's what happens when you have conviction in something.
Oh yeah. Oh, look, I love the way you do sports talk. You know that. I've told you that.
The people that I hate are the ones that ride in the middle there. I can't stand that. I mean, anything in life. You're either a king or you're a waiter. Pick one.
Perhaps I'm guilty of riding the middle at times.
No, you're not. You're getting way from the first day to today. Huss, you fucking make me get upset. Nobody makes me get upset. Okay? You do.
I've
So I dig
been
it,
crushing
man.
you recently. I mean, I'm checking
Oh,
off I'm checking off
fuck that.
W's like left and
I'm
right.
so sorry. I mean, hey, I just teed it up for him too. Kiss my ass.
You
All right.
did. You teed it up on a platter, and I hit a grand slam. Bottom of the
Yeah,
ninth, walk off homer.
yeah, a grand slam. Okay. Hey man, I'll tell you what, we have to keep an eye on though. All supers will go to the top. I gotta tell you, man. So who do you think has more rushing touchdowns this year? Derrick Henry or that wishbone quarterback of yours in Philly? He's right now with 11, and Henry's got 13. This thing's going to be nip and tuck
I
between the
know. And
rushing touchdown leaders. So who do you think wins it?
Jalen's getting closer to that 2 a game mark too. To tush push. His Saquon loves going down right at the 1 or the 2 yard line, and then they just tush push it home. No Diddy, by the way. Pause on that one. I think Hurts might win it because who can keep it up? There's
I
only
mean,
we are in the back stretch of the year now. Isn't
he
that
would
crazy,
be
by the way,
the
Phil?
first so-called elite quarterback to ever lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns and not passing touchdowns. Fuck. That's what I'm talking about. Tyson / Jalen Hurts. Hill. I mean,
No.
holy cow.
Tyson Hill.
Wow, man. What a gimmick
You don't give
QB.
Jalen enough credit in the passing game. He's not
Oh,
a putrid passer.
well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. We're
Well,
getting
look,
there.
you think you'll beat out Henry? He's too bad.
Yes.
He
Because
only
you know
got
what?
7 games to go
Because the
here.
other guy rushes for touchdowns too.
Yeah, but he's
Lamar.
already got 13, Henry. I have the Ravens the Ravens are 7-4, so they're already 1 game ahead of us.
Yeah.
Oh, you might be right.
I
Hurts
think
could be.
Jalen ends up with 17, 18 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing. I know everybody loves to talk about the total
I'm being
touchdowns.
sarcastic. It's not.
I know you. Oh, you think? Oh, Sileo's being so. Oh, Sileo doesn't like rushing touchdowns from Jalen. What's new? The sky is also blue. Thank you, Sills. I know. I don't know if it's as great though as some people make it out to be, and not talking about you. I mean, why is that a good thing?
Not.
It's cool. We get into the end zone a lot.
It's a
We want
non-factor.
touchdowns, but it's
It's
have
not.
any great quarterbacks in history been led the league in
No.
rushing touchdowns?
No, he'd be the first.
Well, maybe there's a good to that. Maybe there's a silver lining to that.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure there is. All right. Hey, by the way, real quick here, do you think that? So wait a minute, and look, I know what the answer is, but I'm going to throw this out there to you anyway. And I know how. Listen, I know how he's going to fucking answer. So you got a guy who's the MVP of your team right now in Saquon Barkley. Here's a guy that's on pace for 2,000 rushing yards, potentially 2,500 total yards. I put my ballot in today for the offensive player of the year, and I got Barkley number 1, man. And I think that could potentially cost him an MVP. Don't you want to reward a guy for his efforts in carrying your football team? The tush push is going to cost him an opportunity at being the most valuable player of the league.
But we started this segment talking about being champions. Now you want to win regular season awards?
I don't think there's anything wrong with being the most valuable player in the league.
There's nothing wrong with it, and there's also big incentives on it, so players like to do it. And I understand.
Just a metric that Patrick Mahomes has a $1.25 million bonus in there if he wins the MVP award.
Yeah, I think Allen has like $500K and an escalator. There's a couple of them.
And what I'm saying, he's a running back and not a quarterback, so you're probably looking at his last deal.
Hear me out here.
You're not going to be wrong with what you say.
Let's say the Birds win. Let's say they lose 1 more game, or even two more games, and they go 13-4. I think that's actually plausible. Let's say you lose to the Ravens and the Commanders, or let's say you lose to the Ravens and the Steelers.
Or you wrap up home field and you.
Yeah. All right. So let's just play that scenario out. Is Jalen going to be in the conversation, even though his stats don't jump off the page?
No, because Barkley's numbers will shine more.
You think so?
I do. I think you're talking about a 2,000-yard rusher, 500 receiving, 2,500 yards from.
He's not going to be a 2,000-yard rusher. No way.
Right now, he's on pace for 1,935.
Oh my God, is he? I thought he was at like 1,100, right?
No, but hey, he's on pace for 1935 right now.
11 through 10 games. How could that be on pace for
I
1935?
just looked at it. I just saw the escalator here. Here it is. Here's Barkley's numbers here. 1933, 39 catches for 357 and 14 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns in the air. He's on pace right now for 1,933 rushing yards.
Yeah, and Saquon would probably be in the freaking lead if it wasn't for the tush push. I know that's what you asked originally.
That's my point. I mean,
know. Yeah, but I know. I mean, I'm sure Saquon doesn't love that, but I thought it was interesting that.
But I don't think he cares either. I do. I get it. But
yeah, I mean, he clearly worked it into his contract that he didn't. That any of the bonuses would not come from touchdowns because he knew Jalen would be taking them. I don't care. Just get into the end zone at the end of the day. As long as the team gets in, I'm good with it. But speaking specifically about the player award, yeah, it might hurt Saquon. It probably has hurt Saquon. I mean, how many times has he gotten us down to the one and then Jalen, puts it home?
I compared it to that year that Chris Leak won a national title for Florida. He'd go from 20 to 20. They bring Tebow in, and everyone's like, hey, Tebow won the 2 national titles. Like, oh, he was Tyson Hill in that first one. He wasn't. It was Chris Leak who ended up doing that.
I got a Tebow Gators jersey upstairs that my sister got when she was at school, signed by Tebow.
He's a great dude. I mean,
he's a great dude. I like him more as a dude than I ever did as a football player.
Hey, I got to tell you, if you ever met him, and I have, I got to tell you, man, I voted for him for the Heisman. I don't like to say that much because he's a fucking Gator. But I did vote for him because I thought he was one of the most prolific college football players of all time. I mean, he really was. And homeschooled kid, does a lot of nice work. I'll tell you this. If I ever heard a bad thing about Tebow, I would be really stunned and disappointed. He's really a quality kid. Anyway. All right. So let me bring this up to you. This is now starting to get around all you media guys in Philly. And you guys, it's almost like you guys are like a month behind Big Sills, but it's okay. Yeah, I say something about a month later or what have you. Everyone starts going, yeah, that guy over there, fucking Kellen Moore's the wrong guy for your fucking offense.
Somebody's got to order this guy a bouquet of flowers. He's so butthurt.
Hey, this is like, well, no, the butthurt is coming over to gear with no Big Sills.
You're right, and you want me to make it worse for you? I think you missed something very key that John McMullen said, and I think everybody missed what John McMullen said about that 22nd ranking in the passing offense. Now people can say Big Sills is a hater. People can say I'm a homer. John McMullen is neither of the two. He's an objective middle of the guy that's reporting on the team. He doesn't give a shit if they win.
Drops a ton of F-bombs, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's a ton of F-bombs. So that 22nd ranking, because you were like, oh, well, they're winning by a lot, right? So maybe that lowers the passing offense. Well, that's not the metric. The metric is offensive efficiency in the passing game. It's not about yards. It's not about touchdowns. It's not even about attempts. It takes each one of your passing plays and it grades it on a scale of efficiency by play.
Correct.
So it's not about, oh, well, they didn't run the ball in the fourth quarter. They're obviously not going to pass as many yards. Well, no, we know that. But that's not what they're grading on this thing. They're grading efficiency in the passing game, and they're 22nd overall. They're not a good passing football team right now. Whether you want to believe that or not you, Sills, but people in general, they're not. They're not. They're not a good passing football team. Can we win? We can certainly win. We're 8-2. Can we win big games? I tend to believe we can win big games more than people like Sills or John do because they think you need the passing game. I think we could bully teams out of the game, especially if our defense is playing like this. But it definitely lowers your margin for error, as John always talks about. And Kellen's been a failure because this is why he was brought here. We had a good running game in 22 and 23 and even 21 when they switched after starting 2-5. We've had a good running game. We know. We added Saquon Barkley. It better be a good running game.
You've been good for 12 years. You've been good for 12 years running the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And now you added Saquon Barkley, arguably one of the best running back we've ever had in Philly.
Oh,
I think he is. I think he's better than Shady McCoy. I don't know. I don't know how
boy, man.
Look, it's too small of a sample size right now for Barkley in Philly. But I think from a sheer talent perspective, Saquon Barkley is one of the most talented football players I've ever watched.
Yeah, I'm stunned.
Yeah, he's.
By the way, if you're the Giants, you want to hang yourself for that shit. I mean, I don't know
how they wouldn't do the same thing.
I don't know how and then the whole quarterback fuck up and everything. I mean,
Look at Anton. Look at Anton. Kellen has been awesome. Why? Tell me why, Anton.
Here's where
What
we
has
are.
you done that proves to be awesome to you?
Here's where we are. Passing yards, they're 16th. Attempts, they're 25th. Completions, they're 23rd. TD passes, they're 18th. And total offense, they're 22nd. I mean, I don't think the thing has improved at all, and I've been saying that for over
It
a
hasn't
month.
improved. The stats bear that out. The numbers bear that out. The efficiency
The
rating,
trends,
everything bears that out. They haven't now. Like I said, I think we're a better team this year. I think we have a better defense this year.
I
When
don't
you
think
go
you're better
look,
coached on offense.
last year we were what, the number 18th ranked defense or somewhere. I don't know what we were. Were we bottom 10 last year in defense?
I know. Pass defense, you were 31st.
Yeah. So okay, bottom of the. Now you have a one ranked defense. That's going to close the gap on a lot of things, right? I mean, if
Yes.
you continue to run the ball well, and now your defense
And
is
not
number
turn it
one.
over.
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest thing.
That's
I
the
talked about
key.
that with Jalen Hurts, why that was so key, because it makes the downsides are smaller. And when you have a number one ranked, now my question is, can the defense keep this up? Now I'm going to start to sound like Negadelphia, and I'm just not like, I'm excited. I love it. Don't get me wrong, everybody, but are we sold that they're going to continue to be the number one ranked defense or even play up
Do
to
you
this
think they
standard?
are the number one defense?
They are right now. They are
No,
the
no, no.
number one.
I'm asking you if numbers sometimes don't matter. When you look at them, do you think they're the best defensive unit in the league? Like if you had to stop Mahomes, is that unit good enough to stop him?
Yeah.
Can that unit stop Allen?
The eye test does not tell me we're the number one defense in the league. It
Okay.
does.
Let me ask you this. Here's the problem with the offensive side of the ball and why I don't think it's better than even a year ago, except for the turnovers has improved, which means the limited attempts is one of the reasons why that number is better. It's not because he's not turning the ball over more. It's because they've limited him in type of turnover plays. That's what's happened here. So to me, when I look at him, like this weekend against the Rams, do you truly believe that Sean McVay is a lesser coach than Kellen when it comes to play calling, and the quarterback himself with Matthew Stafford is a superior passer than the one in Philly? You're going to be looking at an exceptional play caller and a quarterback who uses a fucking ton of motion this weekend. How is that defense? Now, look, do I think the Eagles have more talent than the Rams? I do. Do I think that the Rams are better coached? I don't know what Chris Shula is going to bring to the table yet on that defensive side. And there's so many young players over there. So I'm going to assume that the Eagles will have the dominant advantage going into this game as a physical attribute because of the run game. As a passing game, though, against that team, in my opinion, if they start throwing the ball against the Rams, they're going to be in a game where they're going to go back and forth because the quarterback on the other side, Matthew Stafford, can keep you in a ball game, and so can Puka Nacua, and so can Cooper Kupp. I think they're better coached. Vic Fangio versus Sean McVay, that's a win for the Rams. And that's as great as Vic is and as great as Vic's been this year.
Yeah, but you know the story of that Vic Fangio shut him down. And then famously in the Super Bowl, who was it that the Rams played that they lost in the Super Bowl to? Patriots. And Bill Belichick went back in the archives and took the game that Vic Fangio used against Sean McVay, and he
didn't put a touchdown in the end.
And he shut him down in the Super Bowl, and Sean McVay didn't know what hit him. So John tried to get that out of Vic yesterday. Vic didn't bite on it. But we talked about that a little bit on Birds 365. Look, when I say I'm not, I still have questions about the defense, I can run through it right now in my head. And I think it was Jay Brown just put in a couple players. And Jay Brown, I do agree with you. Vic, I'm sold on. I think Vic is getting the most out of all of these players.
And you know what, too? He's getting player development.
Zach Bond, I'm sold on, but I'm not concerned, but don't you have to wonder if he can keep up this level of
How do you
play?
know
I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but like he's playing like the number 2 linebacker.
How do you know he's not James Bradbury?
Meaning what?
All pro year, next year he falls off the map.
I don't see that with him.
Well, the Eagles didn't see it with what's his name. They gave him
Bradbury was also
$7 million a year deal.
Bradbury was 30. I mean, Bradbury was older than Bond.
Few
Bond's
years.
also, by the way, Bond's got a lot. Bond does not have a lot of tread on the tires, dude. He didn't play a lot in New Orleans. He was a special teams guy
Special
and a rotational piece. This is the most he's at. He played more snaps in one season this year through 4 games than he did almost his entire career down there.
I got somebody ask me a question, and they asked me, what would you do if you're Zach Bond? Just me. This is what I would do.
I'd wait.
I'd tell the guy, I'd go like this. Hey, just get close to 10 to 12 in there. I don't want to leave. I don't want to go. I want to stay with Vic. Vic's not going anywhere. Vic's going to be your coordinator in the next 3 years. He ain't getting another head coaching job. He's 70 years old. He ain't going anywhere. So I want to stay with that guy. And by the way, if you're the Eagles, don't you think that part of the play, that the improvement of Jacoby has been the guy playing next to him?
Definitely. Oh, without a doubt. So you're saying, and look, we were talking about this, and I forget who it was. I wish I could give you credit, somebody in the chat, but somebody alerted me to one time that Howie Roseman paid up for a linebacker. And it wasn't all that long ago. It was 2018. Nigel Bradham signed a 5-year, $40 million contract. Now, that's not $10 million plus a year, but that's $8 million a year right there. And that's back to
you prorate that now to this time, it's probably in the room.
$14 million. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh, maybe if Howie believes in this. Now, Nigel Bradham didn't finish out that contract. That was signed in 18. That was a 5-year deal.
You're talking about the notion of them going there, though. That's what you're talking about. So they went somewhere.
Yeah, I do wonder if they'll go there. But look, going back to the defense real quick on whether they can sustain this. Jalen Carter, I'm sold on. Linebackers, I'm sold on them being a top 10 linebacking group. I don't know if I'm sold on them being a top 5.
Let me show you this.
Secondary, I'm pretty sold on. Look, I know we've given Slay a lot of crap on this show. I've kind of been saying I like Slay. He's playing pretty good football right now.
I got him. I got the numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the Eagle defense, and I was going to do this later, but let's do it now. Mill Williams is trending for 22 tackles and 5 sacks. 5 sacks, pressure's on the quarterback.
He's gone. They're not paying him.
They're not going to pay that guy.
I don't think they should either, by the way.
Okay.
You got other priorities coming up. I mean, he's at the end of the day, he's a starter, but he's the
third. They're going to
third.
draft somebody and take his place.
Yeah, he's the third guy in that rotation. And by the way, Ajomo's been playing good. Not a huge drop off to him. You got Thomas Booker in the wings. Yeah, they're going to move on from Millen, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
Especially, by the way, doesn't Zach Bond complicate that?
Yes. And here, let me go here. And here's I'll get to Jordan last. Jalen Carter is on pace for 55 tackles and 7 sacks. That's a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah. Well,
and the disruptiveness in the middle. Okay. Brandon Graham on pace for 30. I can't believe this. 37-year-old guy, 31 tackles. He's on pace for 4.5 sacks. If you told me that you'd get 31 tackles from a 37-year-old guy, a 36-year-old guy, and almost 5 sacks, depending on what the money is, which I don't think will be a lot, I think they bring his ass back. He's had a good year. I think he's been disruptive too. Carter's been great. Williams has been not as good as I thought when I looked at it all. Huff, we're going to get to him in a second. I'm going to leave him there. Here's Zach Bond. 173 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 INTs is what he's trending to. Fuck, dude. I mean, he's going to be in conversation for some first, second, or third team All-Pro team, not Pro Bowl. Like, he's having maybe the best year of any linebacker in the league right now. And he makes $1.5 million. Wow. Jacoby's on pace.
It's just
Jacoby's on pace. Get this here. You're going to get more. Let me add this up here. You had 159 and you had 117. You want to hear something crazy, Zander? Okay. So Bond's on pace for 173. Dean's on pace for 130. That year you went to the Super Bowl, your linebackers had 276 total tackles between Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. You're on pace right now for 303 tackles between Bond and Dean. And Dean's on pace for 130, 2 INTs, and 4 sacks. I'm telling you something, dude. I mean, you couldn't have had – that might just be your best group. I mean, crazy great. Crazy great. And I thought that was going to be a deficiency.
What kind of expectations do you have for this defense through the rest of the year? Like top 5, top 10, maintain what they are?
Let me get through this, and
Okay.
let me write that. Remind me of that, please. Josh Sweat's on pace for 50 tackles and 10.5 sacks.
That's pretty good.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Here's Q, rookie year. He has no INTs right now, which I think it just depends on the way the ball bounces. Some years he's going to have them. Some years
Does that bother you, by the way? A lot of people it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't care at all. It'd be nice to get them, but they're gravy to me. I mean,
no. I think you can't count on INTs.
Yeah, I know it's nice to have turnovers. It creates big plays for your offense and puts you in a good position, but they'll come. I mean, right now I'm just excited about his coverage abilities.
Correct. Dude, the only thing I care about is, so Jamar Chase is on pace for like $2,000.
I know. He's already over 1,000, dude.
And get this.
He's the only receiver over 1,000.
He's on pace for 21 touchdowns. That breaks Moss's record.
Dude, have you looked at Joe Burrow's stats?
Hey, but wait, he shut him down.
Yeah, I know. Shut him down, shut Mike Evans down, shut all these dudes down. I mean, nobody had a good game versus us. And Jamar Chase has been he put up 279 versus one team. I mean, he's dominating teams. He didn't do anything versus us.
53 tackles. I mean, Jesus. Hey, how about this with Gardner Johnson? Gardner Johnson's on pace for 75 tackles and 3 INTs. I mean, that's sneaky good, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sneaky good. I mean,
that's Gardner Johnson, you said?
That's Gardner Johnson.
Yeah. He had that one tipped right to him, which was still, good play by Isaiah Rodgers.
Here's your boy. Let me tell you something. I didn't think he was going to.
Who's my boy?
Reed might make the fucking Pro Bowl, man.
He could.
He's on pace for 112 tackles and 5 picks.
He's the most underrated player on defense. He's the guy who's manning the communication. Plus, he's got the 3 turnovers. Plus, I mean, he's a solid guy, and I think he's better than CJ.
Yeah, Gardner Johnson is suspect in his run fits.
Well, and also suspect in his coverage.
Yeah,
his coverage is not great. He's been better, though.
I don't really think. Obviously, he failed as a corner. And
look at Senor. Wrong, Senor. I was the one telling you it was stupid to want Justin Simmons, and you all called me dumb in the chat. Now Reed's playing like a Pro Bowler, as mentioned by Big Sills.
Actually,
wrong, Senor.
Actually, Simmons is playing decent down there too, though, in Atlanta.
Good, but we didn't need him. That's the
point. They didn't need him. They didn't need him.
Our team better. That was not the spot to do it.
Here's your boy Slay. Slay's on pace for 50 tackles himself. He doesn't have any picks. A lot of people aren't hitting. You know what? A lot of people haven't attacked the numbers like they did a year ago on the Eagles. I mean,
they're not doing it to either side. I mean, look, they're not throwing to Quinion much, and they're not throwing to Slay.
See how misleading that is? Both your corners have no interceptions. Okay? And get this, yet you're number 1 in pass defense. I mean, how's that possible?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's because, right. I mean, that's fucking insane. I've never seen that. Your corners have no picks.
Well, they're not throwing them. Q hasn't even given
up. You're not going to Slay either.
Well, I think Slay gave up like a touchdown or 2. But overall, like I said, I've said it many times. I'm pretty happy with what Slay's given to us this year. But I don't think Q's given up a touchdown yet. He's like barely given up a couple hundred yards in 10 games. He's been super impressive. Both of those guys have.
Cooper DeJean's on pace. He missed a lot of football, 45 tackles, which is insane great. He didn't even play like the first 3-4 games. I mean, they're using him more and more. That number will probably go up, in my opinion. So you asked the question, well, is this sustainable?
Well, no, just what's your expectation from him for the rest of the year? Is it top 5? Is it top 10? Because, I truthfully think that changes what our season outlook is, because if you look at the offense for what it is and assume, okay, we're going to be the best running team in the NFL and we're going to be a mediocre passing team. Let's just take that assumption, and that's what we're going to be in the playoffs. The only way we're going to succeed with that is if our defense plays like a top 5 unit. If they continue to play, I will continue to push back on you and John and say, we can win like this because of the defense and the run. You know, the Commanders game, our most recent game, is the best example of this, because if our defense didn't play so good in that game, Sills, you're not running the ball in the fourth quarter.
If you had a more experience,
think about this. We went into that fourth quarter with 6 points on the board.
Okay.
6.
Fair. But if Stafford's the quarterback of that Commanders team instead of Jaden Daniels, are you winning?
Maybe not. That's why we have to, that's why these next games are such great tests.
Now, that means you have to throw yourself into those games to win those games, Zander. Right. I mean, hey, listen, they did Vic. I heard John, I tuned in for a little bit. I heard John say that was a more favorable matchup for Vic going against Jaden because of his rookie. That's not going to be the case here. Just because you had a great game against him one time, Vic knows too, man. This is my opinion. Don't you think this is going to be your biggest challenge this week because of the 2 wideouts, the running back? By the way, the running back is an underrated rookie on pace for 1,400 yards. I mean, that Williams kid.
What rookie back are you talking about? Because Kyron Williams is not a rookie.
Oh, I thought he was a rookie.
No. Kyron Williams got drafted a few years ago.
Okay, Notre Dame. Okay,
he's a good player.
Get this, I didn't know he was on that roster. I didn't know he was.
I knew him, but that's fine. I mean, he's been around for a little bit, but
he's on pace right now for 13. He's on pace for 1,300 yards right now, 14 touchdowns.
So is this a better test than the Bengals? Because I've thought up to this point.
Yeah, because the defense is better.
Test. Huh?
Because the defense is better.
The Rams' defense is better?
Yes.
Well, the Rams' defense is kind of suspect.
Because they're young.
They're young. You're right.
And they're coming along.
Yeah, then I like that Miami guy mentioned him to you, Cameron.
Yeah,
he got rookie of the week. Yeah, he's good.
And the other two,
Rams team. You know what my fear is with this Rams team? Not my fear, but just what I think they could try and exploit is the Baker Mayfield style. Matthew Stafford's right now 3rd in the NFL in time to throw. So if they come out, and by the way, you heard what's the guy you had on yesterday? I'm blanking on his name.
Jackie Slater.
Yeah, Jackie Slater yesterday. He's telling you how good these receivers are at knowing defense. They're not just great athletes.
They know how to find space.
They know how to find space. They know their football IQ is through the roof, and you can see that when they play. So you couple that with Matthew Stafford getting the ball out in 2 seconds, and receivers that can find the space in the zone coverage, plus the tape from that Bengals first drive. Remember when they went down the field with Joe Burrow was 12-13? That's my fear. They could look at some of the weaknesses. Because, look, the defense has been great, but they've showed there's tape out there on how to beat them. It's just a matter of who can do it best and whether the coaching or whether the players will be able to close the gap on the adjustments. It's interesting because I have a feeling Matthew Stafford's going to come out. He's going to be firing that ball. For me, he's going to get rid of that thing quick.
For me, the Rams have to score first. If they want to be in this game, they've got to get up on them 14-0. They've got to something like that to force them into passing the ball. Because if they get on them first, then the ability for them to be able to run the ball. Remember something here. What happens when you get up on a team like the Rams, Matthew Stafford knows how to work that clock. Plus, they have a running game, dude. And they have play action there now. And they're getting better and better. That 5-5 record of theirs is an illusion because if you remember right, at the beginning of the season, dude, Nakua was out, Kupp was out, half the offensive line was out. Like I said, as you're getting healthier, they're getting better and they're getting more efficient in throwing the football, and their younger players on the other side of the football are getting better and better and better with more playing time. Now, again, my question with the Rams is, you're playing a lot of young dudes on that side of the ball. A.J. Brown running around in the secondary on that fucking young defense, that's not something I mean, you got to get pressure on Hurts in this
No, but
game
here's
because
the problem with
you're
the
so
passing.
young over there, dude.
You're right. And you look at that on paper, you should say, okay, AJ Brown's going to have a field day, but isn't the Eagles passing game in theory, from a game plan perspective, isn't it easy to defend?
Yes,
Take away
because
the deep ball.
they're predictable still. They're going to the numbers. They're not really doing.
I mean, they don't have much of an intermediate game. They don't run a lot of slants. They don't use the middle of the field much. Like if you're a young unit, you can say,
It's
take
not very
this
creative.
away and force them to beat you here.
It's not creative.
It's not. It's not. I
It's
don't know
very,
if that's on
it's very vanilla. If you think about it, at the beginning of the year, if you remember, right, the first 3 games, they did a lot of motion. They've completely gone away from that. In this game, you are going to see a lot of disguised motion because the quarterback is so skilled. You're going to see post snap motion. You're going to see a ton of shit. How is that? And like Vic said it too. I thought he was right on. The question is going to be for the young players. This is going to be a really great test, like Cincinnati. They passed that. There's no doubt, Zander, the number one test so far this year has been Cincinnati and what they did in the secondary. But Cincinnati didn't use a lot of motion in that ball game because Higgins was out.
To beat anybody. So that's
Higgins was out. And now you've got 2 comparable players, like you said, that know how to get in space, and a quarterback who knows how to just completely put his head on a spit and go like this, Zander. And he looks at the entire field. He sees it all, and he knows pre-snap. He knows where his audibles are going to come from in case he sees blitz and pressure, where it's going to come. He's got an idea of landmarks. Stafford is one of the 8 best players on the planet on being in the pocket. The key to him, in my opinion, he's a spot player. You got to get him off his spot because he's not going to try to run for shit. He's a guy that's going to be more of a player that you've got to move around and get pressure on.
So you're thinking blitz in this game?
No, you've got to just,
man coverage?
No, they're not going to play man. They're going to stay in that zone.
So
front four's got to get there. The front four's
I agree with what you're saying, but
I think the front four, Vic's going to go. The front four has been effective, dude. And that old line.
I know.
Here's the thing, though.
Stafford gets the ball out. Stafford player. This guy is closer to Brady IQ of football than a rookie. I get it. I love our front four. I believe they can get there. Stafford's going to say, thank you for the zone coverage and thank you for the 2.5 seconds. That's all I need. Drop back, get the ball out. Drop out, get the ball out. If they don't play any man coverage and they don't bring any blitzes, I got news. They're not going to knock Stafford off his spot. Even if they're getting there and getting pressure, they're going to get home maybe a couple times. You're not going to knock Stafford off his spot.
Okay, well, if you bring pressure on that guy, you better have disguises that guy doesn't know, because Zander, he will sniff that shit out because
he'll burn you. Yeah.
I agree with burn that defense doing that because he's got his guys in there. And I think the most important thing that the Rams have this year that they didn't have a year ago when you played them is that they have a formidable running attack now. They've gotten better in the O-line because the quarterback doesn't hold the ball that quick. And you pointed out, he gets it out.
Yeah.
And
third in the league right now. Third in the league in time to throw.
That is so. It's because the quarterback's IQ. When you have a quarterback that holds the ball too long and he's down at the bottom of the league, those are the guys that you know are not going to beat you in the passing game. When you got a quarterback that's at the top of the game and you see how quickly he gets it out, those are the guys you fear, Zander. The guys like Hurts who are down at the bottom, those are the guys that are not going to beat you in the passing game. The guys that are in there, like you said, Stafford's third, those are the guys that know exactly where to go with the ball.
Yeah, no, they do. And this is why I do think, I don't want to say it's a favorable matchup for the Rams, but they like it on their side because you got Stafford, who knows how to read the zone defenses and gets the ball out quick. You got Cooper Kupp, who's the king of finding holes in the zone defenses. And you got Nakua, who's also really good at that. And he can open up the field a little bit, down the field a little bit more. I hate comments like this, though. Metronics, he says, wait, are they undefeated? No, they're not undefeated. You're playing in an NFL game, dude. This isn't Alabama versus Mercer, like Sileo says.
The record
take every game seriously. Are you guys I know we're better than the Rams. That's the whole point. But if we knew we were going to win, you wouldn't play the games. You got to go win. You got to approach every team. I know everybody says, "Oh, the Rams suck."
See this right here?
Stafford doesn't suck.
See this right here? Rams are 5-5.
The running backs don't suck. They're a little suspect on the O-line.
Look at that. Does the best team with the best record every year win the Super Bowl? The answer is never. Okay, last year, the Ravens had a 14-win. And guess what? A team that had as many wins as you did a year ago won the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you what. Hey, Jordan.
It doesn't matter.
Hey, Jordan, if the Eagles had the mentality that you had, they'd lose every game.
No shit.
If the Eagles had that mentality, they'd lose every game.
Then let me ask you this, Jordan. Why are you in tight games versus the Jags and the Browns? If the Browns suck and they only win 2 games, why are you only beating those teams by 4 points? If you're so superior to a 2-win team, why did the Jags have a shot going down the field at the end of the game for a game-winning touchdown throw when they've only won 2-3 games? That's a
bad
flaw.
way to view it. It's just a bad way to analyze it.
It's a bad way to view an NFL game. That team is not a 5-5 team, is what Zander and I are saying, because they're healthier now. If you go into that game on Sunday, and the Eagles won't go into that game thinking what this guy thinks, you're going to get beat. If you go into the game thinking you're better and you stick to your guns on what you do, you should come out of this thing with a victory. Don't go in like Jordan, because Jordan doesn't know his fucking ass from his hat.
Everybody wants to say, "Oh, they're going to destroy the Rams because we're so great." No.
You haven't fucking destroyed anybody but Dallas.
Man, we destroyed a couple teams.
Who? 2-win teams? The Giants? Great.
The Bengals?
That's a takeaway. The rest of those games are not takeaways to me.
We destroyed
the shitty Giants. I can fucking care less about that.
I could too. I'm with you on that. But hey, look, Bob Brown.
2 teams that I take away, the 3 teams, and no, not even, because like you said, it was week 1. The Commander game and the Bengal game are the only games that I walk away going, "Hey man, there's something here that could be special by the end of the year." At the end of the fucking day, the rest of those bum games you played, you were a better roster than those, and that's plain and simple. You're just a better roster. That's it. The Bengal game and the Commander game you take away from. Now you got a game this weekend versus, by the way, you don't have the advantage in offensive play calling. You don't have the advantage in quarterback. You might have the advantage at wideouts, kind of a push. Cup's great too. Cup's
different type of receivers, different types, 2 different types.
Yeah.
I mean, their group compared to
you got the advantage in the run game and in the O-line.
Yeah.
Get this. Guys, as I'm moving to go, Stafford's a better quarterback than Hurts. Sean McVay's a better play caller than Kellen Moore. I don't know what else to say to you guys. That's not moving the goalpost. Those are fucking facts. Do you want to know something else too? Sean McVay's 38 fucking years old, and he's won 2 conference titles, a Coach of the Year award, and a Super Bowl. I mean, you're talking about an elite play-calling head coach. And you know what you guys are giving me? 42-19. You can eat that record. I'll take that guy's fucking resume any day over any coach in the NFC. Any coach in the NFC.
There's another stupid comment. Moiter Ferreira, or whatever the hell your name is. Drake May with the trash O-line and trash weapons embarrassed that Rams defense. Do you really believe that that's a way to analyze a football game, that another team did well against them, so that means we are? We barely beat the Jags, and the Lions just beat them 52-6. Do you factor that in?
Hey, by the way, you lost to Atlanta, and Atlanta got beat by Carolina.
Yeah, it's just not. It's still the worst. It's one of the worst ways to look at games. Oh, that team beat them by this much, so that means we're going to win big. Stupid. There's no. What does that mean? It's a stupid take, dude. Congrats to Drake May, but what does that have to do with the Eagles playing the Rams this week? It's a different game, different matchups, different teams, different coaches. I mean, come on, bro. You're better than that.
I mean, here.
This is a must-win. I know people don't like to hear that, but if we want a chance at the 1 seed, this is a must-win game.
Yeah, because you know why? If I'm not mistaken, I mean, who does Detroit have this week coming up? I got that written down here. Hang on. Who does Detroit have?
No, I don't think they have a hard match this week. I think they have a hard one next week.
Is it Jacksonville? No. Oh, wait, they do. It's Indy. That's going to be a good test.
They don't scare me. I'm sorry.
Okay, Indy's not bad, dude. Indy's
They're not
not
bad.
bad.
But
They can jump on you.
Detroit's shown that they'll take advantage of a team like that. We'll see how it plays out, though. Detroit's toughest thing. I mean, they have the Niners, they have the Vikings, they have the Bills, and they have the Packers still left. So they got some teams. I mean, they got the Bears twice, so put them in there. But the Bills that's no small task. The Niners are still a tough out. Packers and Vikings. I mean, it should be interesting to see how they finish up.
We got Mark Combs, and I'm serving him up for you guys here because he has nothing to talk about in his shitty Cowboys. Philly 500 couldn't make it. He texted us. Before we go to the Super Chats and we go to that, I submitted my Rookie of the Year defensively ballot this week.
You got verse?
What?
You got verse?
I got my 10 that I have to vote for.
You got 10. Okay.
You want to hear them? Last week, and they're different every week.
I think you gave them to me yesterday. Go ahead.
No, I didn't submit it. I went and I did more homework on it.
Gotcha.
Previous week, Q was 5th on my list. This is this week. I got verse 1, Rams. I've got Quinyon Mitchell, 2, Eagles. I've got Kamari Lassiter, 3, Texans. Great performance I thought he had against the Cowboys. 4, Latu, Indianapolis, 4. I got Cooper DeJean, 5, Eagles. 6, linebacker I love from day one, Edrin Cooper, linebacker, Green Bay. Number 7, Braden Fisk, Rams, defensive tackle. 8, guy I loved, Chop Robinson, Dolphins, edge. Number 8. Number 9, Nate Wiggins, Ravens, cornerback. And number 10, Texans. I'll tell you what, the Texans and Nick Caserio are fucking doing a great job at drafting. Caitlin Bullock, safety. I got a 10. So here's the 10 guys that I submitted this week. And Q is rapidly, like I told everyone who had cows last week when I had him 5th or 4th, whatever it was. He's now 2. So I got verse 1, Q2, Kamari Lassiter 3. He's playing great in Texans. Latu, Indianapolis 4, DeJean 5, 6 is Edrin Cooper, linebacker Green Bay, Fisk Rams 7, Chop Robinson, Dolphins 8, Nate Wiggins 9, and Caitlin Bullock, Texans safety, number 10.
It's pretty good. That's defensive, right? Because someone said Joe Alt. No,
that's defensive Rookie of the Year award. Yeah. Well, Q was moving up that list. I mean, I think for him to win that, he's got to get some picks.
You're right, because it's going to be a stat award at the end of the day. You're going to have some stats. I mean, I do think the prime time, shutting down people will make them.
It does.
Zach Bond was on with, I know he's not a rookie, different combo, but he was on with like NFL Good Morning Football or something today, and I'm like, boy, this guy's getting a lot of media love now. How he's looking at the cash register going up and up and up. Let's go to some supers here. Look at how he's sunny. He's messing. Still, so should I lose all hope as long as Hurts is QB? Should I just stop watching the Eagles until they find his replacement? Should I burn all my Birds gear?
Guy's being a dick. No, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you right now, the weakest link in your huddle is your quarterback. You have a roster, and I said it. I ate crow. I told you guys, you have a Super Bowl offensive roster. You got a quarterback that you've got to count on, not to turn the ball over and be efficient. That's all you're counting on him to do. And can you get there? To Zander's point, I pointed out about 16 different guys who have gone to Super Bowls who have been average and have had exceptional talent around them. You can get there, and Jalen's not going to put 4 games in a row where he's playing great. He never has, especially in the playoffs. But he can get to one game and play like he did in that Super Bowl. That's my take on him.
Just don't turn the ball over, please. Don't get.
Yeah, and by the way, Verse is on pace for 10 tackles or 10 sacks and 71 tackles as an edge rusher. Just so we're keeping score there.
Forte says 1 play to Crow is not enough. I like it, Forte. Devin Shanahan checks in. Love Devin. He's a good guy. He says, no gray areas in anything in life. Greatest lessons I've taken is not a word, taken from Sills. Right or wrong. That's it. I love
That's
it.
it. My grandpa told, hey, Devin, my grandpa used to always have a rule with me. There's no such thing as gray area. You're either right or wrong. You're either good or bad. There's no gray area. Life's not a bell curve. It's just not.
It's a good take. Good stuff, Devin. Thank you, man. Flexing and Steppin says big W's, and they said the channel wouldn't last. Flex, we just getting started, baby. Woo!
Dude, they do every. Hey, my boy Zander, man. Hey, I don't think you guys here. Hey, listen, I'm going to say so. I'm going to give Zander some love here for a second. Hey, I don't think you guys give this dude enough credit because he runs his fucker. His dad oversees it, but he runs the entire thing. And I'm going to tell you something, man. Homeboy's done a great job at keeping this thing. And you know what he did? Here was Zander about, watch this. Here was Zander about 6 months ago. Watch this. This, you know how you're in the ocean and the waves are coming up like this? Watch this. And all of a sudden now, Xander's like this right now. Now he's looking like this. He's looking around. Dude, kudos, man. I don't tell you enough.
Can't thank it. I mean, the people make it happen.
Thank you.
Always Sunny checks in. Did we read this? Yeah, we read that. That shit take from Always Sunny. All right, good stuff, everybody.
Yeah, I got to take a time out because I've got. Oh, here. Oh, I wait a minute here. Hey, Philadelphia sports fans, I want to do something here for you. Do you know when you go to the zoo and you see that lion there and he has to be fed? And what you do is you feed him a sacrificial piece of meat. And you just throw him out there. Eagle fans. I'm not going to take a timeout. Not going to do it. So what I'm going to do is,
let me get out of
here. Yeah, Zander, great stuff. I love you, man. Great stuff as always. Make sure you catch him, guys.
Let me just tell one guy on the way out. Yo, Clay, fuck you, Clay.
Yeah,
all right, thanks,
everybody. The best F-bombs. Thank you, Zander. Hit the like button, guys. Holy shit. This is going to be fabulous. Folks, he has agreed to come on, and I'm going to give him a lot of love. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, he has decided to come on the program, and he is not shy. For your entertainment, the Dallas Cowboys' #1 podcaster, Mark Holmes, is here now for your pleasure. Eagle fans, Mark Holmes. There he is.
Why am I here?
I don't know. Hey, Mark. By the way, guys, please hit the like button and don't forget our friends at BetUS. Take a shot. Take a shot. You're going to need it here.
You know, it's actually got to the point where I've moved on beyond the pain to where it's just comical. Because it's literally at the point where everything Jerry Jones does blows up in his face. You know, he talked about, what do you want me to do? Destroy the place, because of the curtains? And literally pieces of the stadium start falling from the sky.
Two pieces fell.
It's literally insane how bad the Cowboys are. It's kind of like, I'm just numb to it now.
Did you go to the game?
I was at the Eagles game. Yes, I was there I was there. I was looking for you in Philly 500. I'm glad you didn't show up because that would have been, I'd been diddied on that one.
How about this?
Mm-hmm.
When you watch your football team, I mean, I cannot believe Jerry Jones puts that product out on the field right now. What are you telling your fans right now? Now there's word about Deion Sanders potentially being the head football coach. I mean,
okay, let's stop here for a second. What player or coach has never been not listed with the Cowboys? Right? And anytime there's anybody out there, you know that A, everybody wants to embarrass the Cowboys right now. B, everybody wants to talk about who's going to be the solution. if you're Deion Sanders, who's an alpha male, who's used to having everything he wants and wants all the attention, do you think that Jerry Jones wants to share that with Deion?
Wouldn't it make it so though that he could get back to being a football guy instead of worrying about being P.T. Barnum?
I don't know what Jerry wants.
Dude, being P.T. Barnum has not resulted in wins.
No, it doesn't. This has been a 30-year experiment to prove that Jimmy Johnson was just another guy.
That's right.
That's what it all amounts to, is he's still trying to prove that I'm greater. And when I sit there, I sat there in the stadium, which is a beautiful stadium. The sight lines are incredible. But you look at that as an empty vessel. This is like, the guy that's 65 years old with a little dick that goes out and gets a Maserati to try and impress the chicks. He's still the same guy with the little dick and everything else. He's trying to compensate for everything else. I apologize. Maybe that wasn't the best way to put that, but literally the way we've been bent over and all that, I'm kind of miffed. This goes back to everything that everybody said about the Cowboys. They don't care about winning. The product that they're putting out on the field, the lack of desire to sign anybody, the draft picks that have all blown up in their face. This is literally everything that's up there. And this is how crazy it gets. That Cooper Rush right now, his EPA is 40th in the NFL. Jesus. Not that Dak was doing any better, but you literally traded for a guy that you say right now, Cooper Rush gives you a better chance to win. How fitting is it that the Dallas Cowboys have had the two biggest draft busts in the history of football with Ryan Leaf, and now you have to put Trey Lance in there as well on their roster. This is what Jerry Jones, the genius, the guy who's best suited to fix it, has done.
How about this here too? And I have said this about Parcells' run in Dallas here. I think as Bill was building that roster up, finding guys like Tony Romo and all that, I think he started to see another creation of Jimmy Johnson starting to build his football team.
And got rid of it.
And I think he got rid of Bill, and I think he pulled the carpet out from under Bill because he saw what Bill was starting to do, and he was putting the Cowboys back on track again with quality coaches. Sean Payton was in the building as a coordinator for you guys at one time. He put a great staff together.
And they actually went out in free agency at that time, because you think about them bringing Terry Glenn, CEO, out there. They had actually were building, and that 2017 was a great team that was put together.
I think he undermined Parcells, though. I think he undermined Parcells. He didn't want to have another Jimmy in the building. And his only two coaches that were really winning coaches for him were Bill and Jimmy. And he didn't want to see it again. And that's why that Parcells experiment was cut shorter than what Jimmy was.
So, I mean, am I not getting Philly 500 here so you guys can